are transgender actress?
I transitioned from male to female, but I'd never referred to myself as transgender, and if I did, I think my friends would go ballistic. My opinion is there are two genders, male and female. Sometimes you're not lucky enough to be born into the right one, so you transition into the one that you suit the most.
Which seems to me eminently sensible, and I have complete respect for people that do that. It's not an easy process, physically, psychologically, emotionally, or any of those things. I salute you for your common sense. Now, let's bring you into this equation.
Benjamin,
you think it is right?
How do you identify?
I'm a man. That's right. So,
and gender? What are you?
I'm a cisgendered man.
What does cis mean?
So that means if you were... So you were born a woman, and therefore you still identify as a woman, so you're a cisgendered woman, I would say.
And that's because of my physical...
That's because
femaleness.
You identify with how you were born originally.
I?
Well, I assume you're a cisgendered
I'm not a cis anything, mate.
If I may assume.
I'm not a cis anything.
Well,
I'm just a man.
Well, no, but you're a cisgendered man.
No, I'm not a cisgendered anything.
But hang on.
What does cis mean?
Well, that means that you were born the way that you identify now.
No, I'm just born a man.
But someone who transitions.
Why are you insisting on calling me something I'm not?
Well, you can refer to yourself as just a man if you like, but...
I think most people identify as male or female, man or woman,
That's right. The vast majority of people. But that doesn't mean that there aren't other people who identify differently.
There are 100 different genders on this BBC list, apparently, right? One of them is two-spirit person, polygender, pangender, neutroids, intergender.
I have to say,
do you know what they mean?
I have no idea what they mean, and I'm part.
Right. Well, luckily we have the world expert here. What is any of this?
Look, I can't. Don't ask me to list off.
What's a two-spirit person?
I think that's someone who identifies with their native background into their gender.
Do you not think this is just like a vibe that somebody's having? Like when you tick a list, male or female, doing your passport or something, is this not just... This is just how they are. This is just a bit of a vibe.
Do you know what aporogender is?
No.
They're very sorry about it.
Even though you support what the BBC is doing. This, by the way, this is the public broadcaster.
Is that what it is?
No, I don't know.
Hang on. The public broadcaster, paid for by us with the licence fee, is now instructing children. There are 100 genders they can identify as. You have come to defend it, and you don't know what half of these are.
But hang on, Piers. Ignorance isn't a defence.
You're the ignorant one, and you're the one defending it.
Well, Piers, you're the one that doesn't know what it is as well, of course.
I'm about to tell you.
Do you know what...
Aporogender is a fairly new word stemming from the Greek apor, meaning separate. Aporogender is an umbrella term meaning a gender separate from male, female, and anything in between, while still having a very strong and specific gendered feeling. That latter part is key, then distinguishing it from agender.
Is this how they're explaining it to children?
By the way, can you explain that to me? What does that mean?
Well, that means that someone identifies differently to you, and that's what is at the heart of this.
Can you explain what aporogender is, which is one of the 100 genders that kids now have to be? What is it?
Well, hang on, you know, it's not university challenged.
I've just told you what it is.
No, but this is for children, Benjamin.
Right.
This is what my problem with it.
When I was a child,
I think it is university level.
Yeah.
For us to get our heads around 100 different gender identities. And I think Nicole makes a really good point. It actually is about personality,
yeah,
isn't it?
It's just their thing. If I was sat in... I mean, I spent my whole childhood watching The Animals of Farthing Wood. You know, you're impressionable. You know, you've got to be careful.
But you didn't identify...
No, but I thought I was a squirrel. I thought I was going to grow up and be surrounded in a tree, surrounded by nuts. You know,
Benjamin, what is neutroids?
Oh, come on, are we going to go through all 100?
Do you know any of them?
I need to know what...
No offence, you've come on national television to defend the BBC, telling kids there are 100 genders. I'm now reading out a number of these 100 genders. A, you've never heard of them. B, you've no idea what they are. But C, you want to encourage the BBC to instruct our kids that they should be one of these genders.
But that isn't the point. The fact is...
That is the point.
The fact is that people identify in different ways. And when you get bogged down by the idea that children might know that they're different, that they might be helped to understand why they're different, that the teachers teaching them might be prepared with the apparatus to explain it to them, that is a good thing.
100
I think
different ways.
surely.
Do you know what neutroids is?
You might find it strange and unusual, and we might not be able to answer what every one of the 100 is. But that doesn't mean that they don't exist. Well, I suspect you picked the two most...
No,
I haven't heard of
there's an A to B list, and I'm just picking them at random.
You have things like...
So far, I've picked 3, then you have no idea what they are. Do you know what neutroids is?
Tell me.
Well, have a stab.
Well, OK, I don't know. I don't know
Imagine
what
you're a
neutral is.
9-year-old kid and the BBC's told you to be one of these. So what's new choice?
Well, no, that's not what would happen. What would happen is the kid would say how they're feeling.
Here's what
and the
new
teacher-
choice is.
The
So
teacher might be
you want to
prepared
tell a
help
9...
explain
Have
it
you got
to
any
them.
kids?
No, I don't.
Okay,
I'm
I've got 4
27.
kids, right, including 3 boys, right? So I'm just trying to imagine a conversation with my 3 when they were 9, and my daughter's nearly 9 as well. She's like 7.5, right? New choice. Someone with a null or neutral gender, being neither male nor female, and in some cases a person who may also seek to reduce signs of their physical sex, right? Neutroids.
Which is absolutely fine if that's their vibe.
Right.
We should be teaching children not to be horrible. Like, kids can be awful. We should be teaching children to just let people get on with it, let people
Express
have
their
their own vibe. I
personalities.
keep saying vibe. I'm not a...
What is
vibe
wrong with
girl.
just being male, female or trans?
And just have your
That's
personality.
it. In other words, 3 things. You're male or female, or you identify as something else, right?
But there are
what we
lots of
don't do
something
is have
elses.
these
That's the
100
thing.
ridiculous terms that even you, the world expert on gender, has no idea what any of them are.
And I consider
right?
myself to be an expert through experience on transition.
And you've never heard of half of
I don't
these.
have a clue.
I mean, I feel a bit like Diane Abbott being tested on all these details here. I'm not saying that I can
actually,
know
you
all
sound a bit like Diane Abbott because she never knows what she's talking about either. So this is my point. You're not on charge of your brief,
I
Benjamin.
don't know how we switched to having a go at Diane Abbott in this conversation.
Well, actually, I think the truth is that kids identify in different ways. And the real thing that we should be focused on here...
What's the job of a parent and a school teacher with a child, do you
It's
think?
to make them feel comfortable in who they are.
Or
And
to
do you know
offer
what?
them... Or
Here's-
Benjamin, let me throw you something at you. Having been a parent of 4 kids, and I'm not using that as a stick against you, right? I just happen to have had 4 kids. And I believe the job of a parent is actually to navigate them through life, which is difficult, but actually to keep things relatively simple.
And to let the child know that they can come and talk to their parents if they feel a bit different.
And
to
I
the
know
other
if you
kids,
start telling
without
kids
it
there's
being a
100
whole
different
big
ways they can identify,
palaver.
most kids will reach a stage where just to be mischievous and to play up a bit, they'll all say, Dad, I'm neutroids today, right?
Yeah.
No, I don't think you do that. You
That's
can't-
exactly what kids do, mate. I'm telling you.
not in any-
What
any
kids do
serious
is
long-term
they actually,
way.
if they've got a little label they can attach themselves to and be encouraged to do it by the BBC,
Raise your child
they
in
will
a
do
house
it.
where they know they can talk to you if they feel differently, and there are things that we can do to help them adapt in life.
Let's
the
not
whole
confuse
world
them,
shouldn't
Benjamin.
adapt for
100
somebody's
don't actually-
personality.
You
Hang
don't
on.
agree that there are 100
Let me get a word
gender
into this.
identities?
Well, I agree that people have identified as all these things. And the truth is, I don't accept that you can convince a kid that they are something other than they are. We talk about kids being confused by this. The truth is that if you're not a cis man or woman, then you've been
By the way,
confused
can
for
we-
hundreds
listen,
of years because
I'm not a cis
you're not
man.
reflected in
you
the
keep calling me a
education
cis
system.
man. I'm a man.
Well, fine, and that's how you can identify.
Stop calling me...
You're a two-spirit
But I feel
penguin.
insulted and offended that you're calling me a cis man when I'm actually a man.
Well,
You see how
maybe
this
you're
works?
offended. But look,
when you
the
get into
idea
the,
you
when you
can't
get into the
convince someone
offence
of this.
business, right? When you get into the offence business where everyone is offended by all this terminology, right? Actually, I'm offended by you calling me a cis man.
And it is actually used as an insult when people are
Yeah.
called cis.
Well, I
As
was...
soon as you start
I'm being called a
boxing
sissy right
people-
now, and I don't like it, Benjamin.
As soon as you box people into identities, it splits people off from each other, doesn't it?
Why
And you
is
give
this all
them
happening
100
now?
I think it gives people a
boxes.
sense of who they are, and I don't accept you can promote this. You know, I learned about World War II for several years at school, but I'm yet to think invading Poland is a good idea. You can't convince
Well,
someone...
one of
Can I
the things we
identify-
talked about is to
Identity.
stop
Can
it
I
happening
identify...
again.
There's a penguin at the Sea Life Aquarium in London that is currently being reared gender neutral. Apparently has gay parents, right?
2 mums.
I
All
have
sounds-
nothing to say on this subject.
Well, hang on.
because
Let
it's
me just
insane.
say this.
Because it's insane.
Can I,
This is all yours.
under this new world of self-identification, can, as I did earlier, now identify as a two-spirit neutroid penguin?
Well, you're not a penguin, because to use a bit of
Why?
common sense...
Why? Who says I'm not?
Well, I mean, that's not a thing that happens.
Why?
This is the distinction. People do identify
I'm
as
actually a
these different
two-spirit
genders.
neutroid pangender penguin. And how
They
dare
don't-
you...
people don't
How
identify
dare
as
you tell me I
penguins.
can't identify as that? How dare you offend
Well,
me?
you can... maybe Piers the penguin...
You see how it works, Benjamin?
But
Look,
here's-
there I am. That's me as a
Can you
penguin.
see how it gets
to
to
go
a
and have a
point
word
where
with your
people
doctor.
can make it ridiculous?
Well, only if they want to make it ridiculous. You know, common sense says that these are different
Common
genders.
sense, Benjamin.
Different genders that real people have identified as. They haven't identified as a penguin.
We've been male and female for 200,000 years.
But we
I don't understand
haven't.
why all
That's
this
the
is...
point.
Well, we have,
Actually,
and we've
we have,
evolved with that.
Benjamin. We have.
What's the
what
opposite
has
of
risen in the
evolution?
last 2 or 3 decades, we've had a large number of people transgendering, quite rightly, as our wonderful guest has today, and they have my complete respect. What this does is actually makes, I think, people who have transgendered, it makes them figures of fun. It exposes
Yeah.
them to needless mockery. It makes the whole thing look ridiculous.
if you mock
and
them.
actually, the real victims tend to be people who have transgendered and have to put up with this nonsense.
No, I don't think that's a defence of being ignorant. The fact that people
The
might
only
mock
ignorant
them is
person's
the
here.
issue with
You
people
don't.
that
We're
mock.
You
all
came on to
ignorant
defend
because none of
100
us know
genders.
how
You
to
don't know what
define
half of them
any of
are.
them
Yeah.
are.
When I went to school, my teachers couldn't believe there was more than one sexuality. They were incapable of dealing when I came out as gay as a teenager.
Right.
We've gone on a journey. We're making progress.
How many sexualities do you think there are?
Oh, well, don't ask me to...
Well, have a stab.
Well, I'm gay. There's bisexual. There's pansexual. There's all sorts
How many
of
are there?
sexualities. Do you have an answer yourself?
No, tell me.
Well, no, because I'm not, you know...
Are there 100?
I'm not going to...
Can you be a neutroid, pangender, gender non-conforming?
It is a basic fact
bisexual? I don't know.
Well, you either love your own sex or you love the opposite sex or you
like a bit of both.
like a bit of both.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Or
already
you-
nowhere else
that's
to
it.
go,
You
is
could
there?
be attracted- That's
you could be
all.
attracted to more than one gender, so
This
then it
takes
gets
us
different.
into the
So you
area
could be
of women
attracted to
that
the 100 genders,
have
is
sex
your
with
point.
both.
You probably won't be
So there's
attracted
probably
to 100.
100 different sexualities now.
Well, then you'd be
Because
pansexual.
if I'm like bizarrely attracted to neutroids people, right, which I didn't know I was, but maybe I am. Maybe if there were 100 neutroids people here now, I would suddenly feel sexually attracted to them.
Oh,
Does
my
that-
goodness, it's
does
all getting ridiculous.
But does that make me a cis male neutroids ility or something? What is
I
it?
have no idea what you just said.
It won't make you pansexual because that's when you're attracted to someone regardless of
Which
how they
is
necessarily
fine,
identify.
but we don't all have to adapt to that. We just let people get on with their business.
Okay.
Let's just let people get on with their business.
Yeah.
The BBC told us this is an informed professional view from a qualified teacher who is a personal, social, health and economic education specialist. Her opinion is based on her own extensive research and many conversations with young LGBTQ people. She is not saying these are medical definitions of gender, but is talking about how people identify.
Or to put it another way, she's talking complete cobblers. OK, thank you both very much indeed.
I think
And
we're
apologies
all
to anybody who doesn't
confused.
identify with having cobblers. Or if you're a cobbler and you make shoes, I meant shoemakers. If you have a problem with shoemakers, maybe you're a neutroid cobbler and you feel yourself strangely attracted to cobblers. In which case, good luck to you. I respect you.
Don't
Maybe-
go down that
gorgeous.
route.
Maybe you're an apodogender
Fine.
cobbler, non-conformist. Who knows?